I don't know. The 3 hardest words to say in English. How I learned to live in blissful ignorance and stop chasing the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Written and read by yours truly, Oakie McDoakie. Screw-ups and all. There was this boy once, 19. A young man, really. Same name as me. Looked similar, only with more hair and fewer wrinkles. He took a crazy trip to Boulder, Colorado that I wrote about a few weeks ago. His goal? Corner Allen Ginsberg and ask him a question so deep or stupid that it probably couldn't be answered. What is poetry? It's been niggling at me. What did that question mean? What did he want? What was going on in the mind of that kid I can barely remember or understand? I think I get him now. He was hoping for one answer and expecting another. The one he hoped for was an answer as deep as the question. Something that would give him an anchor of certainty in an uncertain world. The truth, in other words, or a piece of it. What he expected was that Ginsberg, world-renowned beat poet that he was, wouldn't have the truth either, like every other adult in the kid's life. Never got to see Ginsberg and asked the question. Had he met Ginsberg, what would the man have said? No telling. But these days I hope he would have given the one answer I respect most. I don't know. Not something you hear often. Ever seen the 1982 Conan the Barbarian, the one starring Arnold Schwarzenegger? In the first scene, young Conan's father gives him a life quest. Learn the answer to the riddle of steel. He needs to know the answer when he dies, or their god, Crom, will laugh and throw him out of his mountain. The movie starts with young Conan being orphaned, and then drifting through life, in part because he doesn't know the answer to the riddle. When he learns the answer, from the villain Thulsa Doom no less, he's reborn and starts his life anew as a self-actualized person, eventually king by his own hand. In a way, that 19-year-old who went to Boulder was on a quest to find the answer to his own riddle. And no, it wasn't exactly, what is poetry, or any of the other questions rattling around in his brain. Who am I really? What do I want to be when I grow up? Is a hot dog a sandwich? What is the sound of one hand clapping? Those many questions were trying to get at the truth. Tall order. In the movie, Conan learns the answer and rises to meet his destiny. Tidy. Great storytelling. But young Oakie? Not so simple. Life never is. We humans love answers, need answers. The cleaner the better. We're pattern-seeking animals. Not knowing makes us deeply uncomfortable. It starts simple. Is there a tiger in that bush or not? Then it grows. What is the purpose of life? Not knowing drove the younger me crazy. Now, the elders around me had answers, or pretended they did, but the more I dug, the more I realized they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. And that made younger me furious. These days, I've got a different perspective. It starts with something that kid uncovered all those years ago, something philosophers and probably a billion other folks have discovered by bumping into their own limits. Language and reason only get you so far. Let's imagine modern Socrates talking to Bubba. Bubba. America is the greatest country on earth. Socrates. What do you mean by greatest? I mean it's the richest and most free nation ever. Richest how? Total money or per person? Luxembourg citizens are richer on average than Americans. Well, we're more free for sure. We got constitutional rights, like free speech. Would you say a person in jail is free? No, that's stupid. Did you know the U.S. has the highest total prison population in the world, and the highest per capita rate? Nearly 5 times higher than China's. Yeah, but... You can see where this is going. Socrates isn't trying to convince Bubba to stop loving America. He's trying to get him to see that he doesn't know what great even means. To get him to, I don't know. That rarely ends well. More likely Bubba punches Socrates in the nose. The real, historical Socrates pissed off Athens so much, they executed him on trumped-up charges of corrupting the youth. And that's how people are. The fear of not knowing runs deep. Most folks don't mind admitting ignorance about the simple stuff. They'll shrug and say, I don't know how to fix the washing machine, or don't ask me to explain crypto. No shame in that. It's just practical. But the further a belief drifts from anything you can touch or test, the more fragile and dangerous it gets. Tell someone you don't believe in their politics, their church, their chosen heroes, and you'll see the shutters slam. You're not questioning their opinion anymore. You're threatening their sense of who they are and how the world works. That's when the claws come out. When I don't know turns from humility into heresy. Especially if their status or paycheck depends on the illusion of certainty. I've seen that fear in others and in myself. That old fury I felt toward the elders wasn't just disappointment, it was terror. If they didn't know, then maybe nobody did. And that's a hell of a thought when you're still young enough to believe there has to be an answer. Otherwise, well, best not look down into that pit. But I did look, more than once. Over the years, I tried to graft myself onto one belief system or another. Political, spiritual, even a few that were downright culty. Anything to quiet that existential nausea. Trade uncertainty for belonging. But it never took. Square peg meet round hole. Honesty kept breaking the spell. I can't stomach contradictions, or stories that don't line up with the evidence. I envy people who can just believe, or at least go along to get along. Life might have been easier that way. But that's not how I'm wired. So I was left with one option. Learn to live with I don't know. And let me add, I'm pretty sure no one else knows either. That's reality. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. In that book, Douglas Adams imagined the Magratheans building a supercomputer, deep thought, to spend eons calculating the answer to life, the universe, and everything. The answer? 42. When asked what 42 could possibly mean, Deep Thought pointed out that you can't understand the answer if you don't understand the question. So the Magratheans built a new computer, Earth itself, to find the question. Result? What do you get if you multiply 6 by 9? And that's pretty much where we are as humans. Anyone who says otherwise is probably trying to pick your pocket. We don't know. Not the answer to life, the universe, or anything else. And that's okay. But I won't leave you hanging there. The question remains, how do we live with I don't know, but without going insane from the terror? Start by taking a deep breath. Remember, we humans have always muddled through, usually with no answers or bad ones. Most of what we think we know has always been bullshit. Having the answer isn't as existential as it feels. Then just get on with it. Make breakfast, take the dog out, pay the bills, mend what's broken, notice what's beautiful. The sun still rises, the wind still blows, even when we don't know why. And now and then, when you're quiet, it all makes sense, just for a moment. The truth, if there is such a thing, is like a cat. You can't make it love you by cornering it or smothering it with words and thoughts. You just sit there, maybe sipping coffee and watching the clouds roll by. And if it deems you worthy, it'll crawl into your lap and start to purr. And in that moment, you'll think, oh yeah, I get it now. If you like this, you can tip me on Ko-Fi or follow me on Substack and the socials. Just go to OakieMcDoakie.com. Until next time, don't let the bastards wear you down.